That's the nature of the bubble. There's always a bigger fish.
Bad things happen around me.
Neither of you are dying.
The last thing I say to Lux is, this is, I'm here to do something good.
Somebody recognized me.
Who the fuck are you?
My name's Lance a Little, and you're dead.
One job. One.
Have you ever wanted to see the corpse of a dead god?
Don't sell your soul to that cat.
Do you think they're trying to kill me?
Obviously, I'm fine.
Come and catch the magic. Yeah, you head on out, down out of the stairwell and down the corridor, through that same lab section you had before, and into Mad Dog's office, where you find him waiting for you with Sunshine Eclipse, who is there. On the desk is a strange-looking device that has like multiple attachments associated with it. It almost looks like semi-organic in nature as you all filter in. Mad Dog's face, as usual, is inscrutable due to the large snarling mask that he wears. But he is kind of seated in a little bit of like an uncharacteristically stressed position, like he's like leaned forward and as he comes in, like you see him stand up and he says, "Oh, welcome in. I'm so glad you are both alive, and also have decided to come to the meeting. Like I want to be able to talk to you all."
Oh? I'm in no trouble.
Yes, I kind of get the sense that there's like a little bit of unease between us, you know, as this wants to happen. So I just wanted to get the chance to clear the air a little bit, and yeah, so I figured that, you know, you've invested a lot in me, so I figured we could talk, and I could invest a little bit in you guys, as is fair.
Certainly.
I guess.
Invest what?
Well, the most important thing of all, which is knowledge. I mean, how can you trust somebody if you don't know them and what they're working for, right? And while I may have a patient in my care who is in quite dire straits, there is obviously more to the story than that. And if you would like, I would be happy to tell you. In fact, if you wanted, I could show you.
I
Yes?
would be interested. There's been a lot of talk about your patient, and I have no clue about any of it.
Yeah, I mean, they should see the patients for themselves. I think it's the best way to really comprehend what's going on.
Yeah, definitely agree.
And what do you think? He says, turning his face to Lux.
She looks kind of alarmed that he's asking her specifically. She crosses her arms and she says, "I would like to see whatever you are hiding."
Indeed, I will be truthful with you all to the best of my ability. And while that might be difficult to understand in this moment, it will be made clear. And he kind of gestures to the device as he kind of grabs one of like the long kind of connectors, and he kind of attaches it like to his forehead. And he says, this device will allow us to kind of do what your friend Cal does, but on a little bit of a deeper level. I'll be able to share memories and things of that nature. So that way there will be no doubt that I am telling you the truth. Which is why Sunshine is here. She is the insurance, as it were, as I know at least some of you trust her.
Cal raises his eyebrow as he says, it allows me to do kind of what your friend Cal does. Because Cal's like, how do you know anything that I do?
He nods over at Sunshine.
You just
Let's
telling people
squint
all my
at
business?
Sunshine.
Sunshine looks kind of like embarrassed and says, well, you know, getting Biden fixed up, and you know how talking happens, and she kind of she starts like just like coming, like stammering and coming up with excuses, like saying like it's just, you know, basically that she's a blabbermouth.
And so she's the insurance. Okay. I think he tucks away in his mental Rolodex. You can see the file for Sunshine Eclipse like getting updated in real time, and his brain like talks too much.
It's like, okay, so this is going to be in our heads?
Indeed, I will be able to share with you what I know, the most of what I know.
Doesn't go the other way, right?
No, it is a one-way connection.
Okay. Let's get to it then.
Okay.
So does everybody grab one of these cables and attach it to their temple?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very slowly and hesitantly, but she does.
Yeah.
Kite's just as slow and hesitant.
As you all do so, you feel your presence kind of extended out beyond your bodies in a similar way that you felt when you were kind of being ejected into the Psychoscape before, as you kind of are floating. You're still very much like standing there, like conscious and aware of what's happening in the room, but there's also like this secondary experience that you're kind of more focused on, as it was almost like you've alt-tabbed like to this different scene, and you are all kind of in this void stood there. Mad Dog is there, although they are not wearing their mask and they do not have their large prosthetic gorilla arms attached to them. They just look like a normal, fairly slender orc man who has a plain face, although you do see that he does have like a little bit of a scar leading from his right eye across to his the left corner of his mouth, like across his nose. And
that's all you've been hiding behind that mask this entire time?
Were you expecting something more?
Yeah, honestly. You wear that thing so religiously.
It's true. And this is why. And he like kind of gestures forward, and you are in wild space, and you are aboard a small vessel which appears to be like naturally grown. It's large, its deck and spelljemming helm appearing to be just one continuous piece, and you see that there it's incredibly small, other than the spelljamming helm and what appears to be like a stasis pod, which a large bright glow is like illuminating the viewing glass of. That is it. And you see Mad Dog awaken from unconsciousness. He is laying there on the ground next to the spelljamming helm. He is wearing very sparse clothing, other than the necklace that he also always wears around his neck. And he looks around confused, like taking in his situation before something rams into the ship, and there is immediate like warning signs happening. He jumps onto the spelljamming helm and basically floors it, and the spelljammer takes off away, like begins flying into an asteroid belt, dodging an enemy ship that is also chasing him. He narrowly gets away as the enemy ship is crushed between two asteroids. And he flies off towards what you recognize to be Respite. And he says, "While this may seem to be an unremarkable day in the bubble for many a traveler, this was my first memory."
First memory ever?
Yes and no. I have the experience of that I have. I know Magitech. I know like medicine and crafting like that. But the life that I lived before finding myself on the floor of that spelljammer, I can't remember.
I see.
Okay.
Are you trying to find those memories?
I am trying to survive at this point. I don't know. It is a goal of mine, yes, but I don't know where they could possibly have gotten to. I don't know. I would not know where to start in a space as vast as the bubble. And unfortunately, I was given bigger priorities, he says, as he like gestures to the back of the spelljamming vessel with the glowing stasis pod. And as like he gets up from the spelljamming helm and he looks into the pod and he sees, and you all see the patient in there. You see patient Fibnock, as Mad Dog calls him.
Wait. Sorry, you just found this sick guy in space. You brought him to Respite to try and fix him. When you had no memory of what happened before?
Did I find him or did he find me? I'm not sure. I don't know how it happened, but all I know is that whatever our relationship was in the past, and I know there was one. I can tell, but I don't know what it was.
So you're hoping
mattered.
that if you can cure them, they'll be able to answer some questions, but also you feel the tug of some sort of connection with them.
Indeed, and that ship that was attacking me, it was a standard alarm vessel, one of their regular patrollers. I have no idea what the reason they would attack me on sight would be, but if I was of that noteworthy to them that they would do so, then it only made sense for me to hide my face, change my outward appearance as much as I could, in hopes of protecting them.
Can I
So
roll
why
an
did
insight
you-
check?
Sure. Go and have an advantage.
That's a 20.
Nice. Yes, with the dirty 20, you can tell that this is that Mad Dog is being genuine with you. The emotion in their face and voice feels very real to you. And in addition to that, like as you're looking at these memories that are being portrayed for you on this psychoscape, that a landscape that you're fairly familiar with in general, like these feel like real memories to you. They don't have the feeling of doctored or modified memories to you as you're kind of watching through them.
Oh. Why are you showing us this exactly?
Because I get the sense that I might need you more than you need me in a very real way. And in order for you to be able to trust that we can work together, I think that you need to see this. I think you need to know this.
Okay.
It's admirable enough. I understand the intention.
You know, I'm just gonna say what's on my mind. But, like, this says nothing about whether or not you set us up and used us to do a bunch of your bidding so that you could steal that thing from the race. Admirable, yes, but I don't think it quells any of the fears I had, and at least that's where I'm feeling uncomfortable at the moment. Am I right? And he kind of like looks at everyone else for some kind of like validation, even though he just said it was his opinion.
Lux does not.
He's like, see, thank you, Lux.
I think Cal is focused in on Mad Dog, and he's definitely a sucker for an emotional appeal, but even more so because in a way he can relate. So he does not acknowledge what Kite says, but he is looking at Mad Dog with a softer expression.
Mad Dog looks to you, Kite, and says, "Set you up? How so?"
Well, oh god, I as a player am gonna have a hard time explaining this, but I know there's like a reasoning behind it.
I can have Lux butt in if you want.
Yeah, that might be helpful. You might be able to say it better than me.
Just everything that happened before, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Lux is gonna say, you know, the thing with the fact that you were talking to us when our ship and my dog, Itzel's definitely there. I don't know what size, but he's there. And my dog, and then the pixie dust wanting us to go get that for you, and it was just conveniently all lined up in a row for us to come back and bring you what you wanted. And it happened to kind of line up with the pixies that went after Kite and went after Cal.
And then stole our ship.
Yes.
That's fascinating because if I remember correctly, the reason why I sent the invite to you all to speak with you about the pixie body situation was because I had heard from Sunshine Eclipse that she had to step in and assist a young Kite there.
Don't call me young right now.
Sorry, assist Kite there.
Yeah, but you have to understand how that looks still, right? You know, and then we go to the Pixies to get our ship back, and then all of a sudden this thing gets stolen. I know that didn't happen at the exact same time, but still.
I think Lux is gonna squint at Sunshine Eclipse.
Oh, she's not really. Well, I guess yeah, you can do that in the IRL space.
Yeah, in the IRL space.
Yeah.
Can I insight her?
Sure.
We'll see. This is gonna be a wild one. Yeah, 19.
Yeah. What are you? Anything in particular you're trying to insight?
Whether her intentions are good or bad.
Yeah, it looks like she finds this situation to be a little ridiculous, but she is stood there like with her, like hand on her holster, like ready for if the quote situation goes bad, right? Whatever that might look like.
Does it seem like we can trust her?
I'm gonna say based on the information that you've been given so far, yes.
Okay, so is her face kind of unreadable for that? Is it hard to tell her like genuineness?
I think that you're asking like a little bit too broad of a question here, because it's like you're asking like, is this person definitively good or evil?
Yeah.
Like, what is their intention in this one? And I'm like, I don't think that you're going to be able to necessarily glean that from them standing there.
Okay. Let me narrow it down. Can I tell if she wants to help us?
Yes, I'm going to say yes. You can tell she wants to help you.
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Mad Dog, I don't think that they mean any offense. It's just there have been a lot of coincidences in our life recently. So many that it feels that maybe some of them aren't coincidences, but it's still hard to sort out which of those are which.
Yes, he said what I was trying to say much better.
So do you think it is more likely that I would have set you up and known something about the Pixies and, a rival gang? Sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around the theory.
I don't think that it's not that there's someone, actually, in fact, it's the fact that there is not someone more plausible than you at the moment. That's what I mean of it's not a distrust of you specifically. I think it's the fact that there isn't someone else who could be pulling the strings that comes to mind immediately.
It's interesting that you do mention that, though. Mad Dog kind of puts his hand on his chin in a thoughtful expression. We were the second team that was hired to go to that outpost. Farv had hired the Pixies before us.
Yes.
Here's Farv's name, and he's just like immediately like on alert.
Apples raised.
So who hired the Pixies? And
Far-
who hired you?
Farv hired both of us.
Both of you?
Mm-hmm.
I hate that guy.
Same.
Well, he's in a lot of trouble right now, so it might not be much of a thing to concern ourselves with for a while.
Oh, but you don't think it could have potentially been him that was trying to put things in order so that he had a distraction?
I'll be honest, I don't know where he is right now. He might be... At the current moment, I don't think he's a concern.
Okay.
How do we feel about that?
And it sounds like if both Kite and Cal were attacked by Pixies, it sounds like they must have been watching your vessel.
Yeah. Maybe.
Which would make sense that they would have used the opportunity of everybody being off the ship when you came here to take it.
Speaking of the underdock, is there a little bit better security down there?
Oh, definitely. That whole ship hatch, in fact, closes. So you don't even need to worry about individuals either getting in or getting out without the full hatch being open.
Certainly. Thank you.
I think that also Lux is going to look at Lance. She can't really say anything, but at least now she doesn't wear her mask anymore. So you can maybe see that she is pointedly trying to get you to put the Mandelbrot set together with Farv. That's currently going on.
Slides off my back like water off a duck.
God damn it. So he probably just sees her staring at him. Like, I think she's gonna try to make a triangle with her hands.
Kite's like looking at Lux like, what are you doing?
I'm stretching my fingers.
Okay.
Glaring at Lance again. Like, please pick this up.
Yeah, no, fully. I think even if there was a moment where Lance thought that, he is already having a crisis right now and cannot go any further and has hit a mental wall and goes,
Okay, well, Mad Dog probably didn't set us up.
But to think that there's the possibility that Favre did, it's a little worrying, because I'm going to be honest, he doesn't seem too smart to have hatched that plan himself.
That's a good point. He was kind of stupid.
a little slow on the draw, yeah.
So then I wonder where he's getting his commands from.
Theories.
What?
We have theories.
You have theories. Okay, let's hear your theories.
I'll tell you later.
What?
She glances at Mad Dog again.
Okay.
I don't know how much.
Lux, go ahead and make me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no. I got a 10.
Okay, sorry, continue.
Oh no.
Oh, that's not
Jesus.
worrying at all.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm so scared. Okay. Anyway, wowie zowie. Anyway, yeah, she says, I don't know how much other people may want to not speak about, so I would like to tell Lance before I tell. She gestures to Mad Dog. This man.
I feel like that just made it very obvious.
Yeah, you got really close to being sneaky about it, and then kind of at the finish line had a moment.
I had to. You weren't understanding what I was saying, so I was forced into it.
No, absolutely. Yes, I completely understand. Is there anything else you'd like me to clear up before we break the connection?
I think we're good at this point. Let's break this connection.
All right, great. Yes?
Okay.
No, yes, Cal? What, is it anything more?
No, it's not pertinent to this. I'll ask later.
Once we break the connection, would I be able to take a look at the patient? I haven't seen them yet.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Mad Dog says as they remove the connection from their temple.
Cool.
I'll go with you. I haven't either.
So yeah, everybody taking their connectors off their temples. Sunshine smiles as she holsters her gun, which she's been doing basically gun tricks with the whole time. As she says, "Glad everything went well."
Yeah, that's yeah.
So what's next for you? Well, some of you city slickers.
Some of us what?
City
City
slickers?
slick.
What
Yeah.
is that?
I
People
was
from
thinking
Core
about-
Worlds.
Making a trip to the Omega Bazaar.
Ooh, that's fun. Looking for anything in particular?
Maybe a snack, see some fashion, that sort of thing.
I think I'm gonna go check in with someone.
I have a couple things I have to do.
Lux.
We'll be figuring some things out.
Got a nice shark. You got eyes on this deal? She says, smiling.
Not this time. She says with a straight face.
At this point, Mad Dog chimes in. You two wanted to see the patient?
Yes,
Yes.
that would be lovely. Well, not lovely, but I appreciate you hearing me and listening.
He nods and strikes out into the hallway, leading you to the quarantine room. You go through the layers of quarantine before entering, and he opens the viewing window, and you are able to see in the form of a young man laying on a like a patient's bed. Their left arm, like up to, I think at this point, like their bicep has seemingly turned into fractaline energy in the same way that Lady's body is is made of that same fractaline source. And it seems like it's almost like as you're watching it, like the matter itself at that like edge is like hazy and is shifting back and forth as it seems almost like this individual is being like converted into this energy source. And it's they're very bright in this room. There's a lot of energy clearly being displayed. And Mad Dog will say this piece of glass actually has tinting on it to allow it to not be nearly as bright. It's quite luminous in that room.
Are they sequestered for a reason? Is there cause for alarm, like contagion or something?
In my research so far, it does not seem like they are contagious. However, this is a seemingly unprecedented form of disease, sickness. I'm not even sure what's potentially parasitism. I'm not really sure what's happening here. So I feel like caution is better than not. And also hence the security as well, as if this it seems like this person's physical matter is being converted just into energy of magical energy, which if the Glom were to find out about and get their hands on, which it seems like they might already at least know about, that would be very bad.
Could I do an Arcana check?
Yes, an Arcana or a Medicine check, your choice.
Okay. It's only a 14.
What kind of information are you trying to glean?
I think I'm trying to identify if this is some sort of discorrelation or if it's an entirely different thing altogether.
Okay, I'm going to say with a 14, it's fascinating to you because it is very reminiscent of Lady, but the size and the complexity, the depth that the energy's fractaline matrix goes to is it's much more like complex almost, right? Like Lady in and of themselves is an incredibly complex being in terms of fractaline beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is this almost feels like it's on another level, another a different like almost like evolution as it was.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is, you know how the Knights Accord has like that thing where if you find anything unusual regarding life and death, to report it.
Mm-hmm.
This seems like a possible thing that could have. So would this have happened basically to anyone in the Knights Accord's knowledge before?
Sure. Go ahead and make me a history check.
Okay. Oh God. I'm gonna preemptively. I'm gonna use my last knowledge from a past life.
Okay.
With this history check.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna. Oh, I don't even need it. But you know what? We're gonna go do it anyway. 26, right? Yeah. Okay, so that's 18. Wait, D6B? Hold on, no, that's not it. Hold on. 5. Okay, so that's 22.
Much better than 1B. All right,
Yeah,
perfect.
1B.
Yeah.
1B is crazy.
So 22 total history. I'm going to say that I think that there maybe was in your time in like this, that isolation and examination ward at the Knights Accord at the Penumbra,
Mm-hmm.
there were people that were somewhat loose-lipped around you, as well as like that was kind of like your first home a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And as a result, people would talk to you and give you information that I think normally others wouldn't be privy to, even like assassins, simply for operational intel purposes, right?
Uh-huh.
So I think that with the 22 history check, you do remember that it was less of something that happened to a Knights Accord agent and more something that was like, it was a rumor or a legend that somebody had encountered an individual who was a fully sized humanoid that was like made out of the fractaline energy. And as per protocol, right, they attempted to capture it and they were just completely unable to do so. And so it's like almost like a little bit of like a legend in the department itself, in that like informational department, that research department of the Penumbra, like of this kind of larger fractaline, more complex fractaline creature that escaped and wasn't able to be contained by them.
Okay.
And it was, I think it was so fantastical that I think even when it was reported back, a lot of people didn't even like believe it.
Yeah, like maybe like they thought the person who was trying to report it was like trying to be special or something, you know, like trying to suck up to Era or something.
Right, like it was discounted, basically. Absolutely.
Yeah. Remembering this, Lex is going to say to Mad Dog, have you ever... I mean, I'm guessing you don't remember a lot, but have you ever met anybody else like this?
No, and in all the research that I've seen that is available that I've been able to get access to, which hasn't been very much, my ties to Ioun are not that great. Information is difficult to trade, but no, I've not been made aware of anybody else like this. If I had to guess, it would be a huge state secret.
Above the table, would Lex have known the person or ever met the person that did claim to see these things? Or was this just a long time in the past?
I don't think Lux would have ever met that person.
Okay. Fair. This isn't the first one this has happened to. I don't have any proof, but I've heard of this before. Just not in a state like this and incapacitated.
Really? Were they... What, do you have any idea what they were like, what their properties were, anything at all?
I just heard that they were a fractaline humanoid that was impossible to catch.
It's almost like their whole body had been fractalized. He'll say kind of thoughtfully, almost to himself.
They were existing like that.
Right. So you may be able to survive the process. Or maybe you don't, and most times don't. He's clearly like thinking and going and as he's kind of muttering this to himself, he kind of goes over to like a clearly like a research board that he's got like been working on. Did the two of you do anything else in this moment?
Mad Dog, could I go inside for just a moment?
Mad Dog like stops typing at the terminal that he was working at, and he looks over to you and he says, "Are you sure?"
Yes.
He'll pause for a moment longer before not saying a word, but he'll nod at you, and he'll gesture to the door.
And Lance will pull off his little short gloves as he heads inside. I think first off, I would try to cast a lesser restoration on him to see if that does anything. That does require touch.
Okay. Go ahead and post lesser restoration. As you cast lesser restoration, what does it look like as Lance does so?
I think that as Lance is standing there, he's standing right next to the body, and it's you see kind of starting out around the wrist, you see a Mandelbrot fractal begin to form, almost like a bracelet around his wrist that like grows outward, and then he'll push the energy from his hand into the patient.
Excellent. Yeah. And as you see, like the fractaling energy, the Mandelbrot set kind of classical fractal as it darts into the patient, like restoring them. You see like some color returns to them, and the kind of like mirage like haziness of their section of arm, you do see it kind of like it almost like fades down, and while it doesn't progress backwards, it doesn't change back, you do see that it does seemingly has like almost as if it had been inflamed. It looks like it is almost calmed down and kind of like slowed, if that makes sense.
I don't know if there's much more I can do to help for now, but that might slow things down a little bit. And
Lance, as you're kind of standing over the patient, looking them over much closer, go ahead and make me an Arcana check at advantage.
$22?
Yeah, standing here much closer now, it's a lot more evident and a lot more easy to see that. And I think it's in this moment that you kind of make that connection. But this fractal that is growing up the patient's arm is very similar to that new fractaline shape that you were able to discern out of the great disparity in Teek's number.
I think looking at that and having that connection, I'm gonna share this. I'm not expecting anything major, but I would like to channel some of the same energy from my Restore Balance. Your connection to the plane of absolute order allows you to equalize chaotic moments. And knowing what Lux mentioned about there being someone who was like up and aware, I kind of think like, okay, maybe it's not about fixing it, it's about helping guide them forward and kind of channeling some of that order in.
Interesting. Okay.
That, by the way, is super cool.
Go.
You did get 22 on that Arcana check. Okay. So what does it look like as you attempt to restore balance?
This one is, we haven't talked about this in a while, but there is kind of another way that Lance and other members of the set are able to sort of view the world, where they can see objects that are like like they are not kind of placed correctly in their own timeline, and he kind of like flicks over to that view and starts like the actual sort of magic of it. It looks like he's like kind of untangling a knot.
Yeah, I think there is this moment that as your perception changes and the light of the arm has kind of dimmed down due to the lesser restoration, you're able to see the pattern inside the arm much more clearly now, and with this revelation of similarity. As you're restoring balance, you see that the fractaline nature of the arm, it had kind of been shifting and less concrete, almost as if it was still choosing its path and the way that it was laid out. But as you restore balance and begin to like work on it, you see it become more and more concrete, and almost as if there is like like a glowing disc of this like fractaline source, like on the place where their shoulder meets this new fractaline arm. It almost like solidifies with it, and you see it like close up and like almost like halt on their arm as it solidifies hard. And you see there is this moment where the arm is now like solid, and I think there is this moment as like the fingers begin to flex seemingly on their own. And that's where we're going to call it for this week.
Yo, so cool! So cool!